Good morning, good morning, good morning. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. Well, welcome to the 2024-25 school year. We are going to do something a little different this year with our convocation. We have our very own Miles Jackson, who is a senior here at Shaw High School. He will be our MC for the morning, so let's give it up for Miles. Keep clapping it up for him as he comes forward.
I loved walking throughout the crowd and just seeing the shock on people's faces because you thought I was a teacher or something like that. Like, that's just so fun. It is a joy and a privilege to be with you all this morning. First of all, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know this happened. I didn't know a kickback like this took place this morning. So this is so cool to see all of you here. I have some shout outs to give before we dive into more time together. So our district has about 6 schools, 6 of our different schools here. We have Chamber, we have the Empowerment Center, we have Mayfair, we have Shaw, we have all these places where these students get to come and just get knowledge. And they think that they can get it anywhere else, but they get it here. And it's crucial that we understand the part we play in the development of the next generation. There are a lot of times where we as human beings can get discouraged about certain things, certain changes, certain moves, mistakes, all the other stuff. But this is a new year, right? This is a new school year. And so we are pledging to be better. We are pledging to look in the mirror, to look at ourselves, right? You can give yourself a round of applause because it's fair. That's fair. We are pledging to look towards the bigger goal. We're not looking at the little obstacles. We're not looking at all the extra stuff. We're looking at the bigger goal. That is not easy, though. It does not take one person. It takes all of you collectively as a group working together for the common good. So, all of the departments, everyone who's here, this is the whole district. I truly want to give yourselves a round of applause. Just give yourself a round of applause. Because you guys do a lot. You deserve it. This year holds endless possibilities and exciting challenges. And it is an opportunity to inspire and innovate the next generation and fuel them for what is to come. We don't know what's next, but you do. So please share that with us. Hopefully we can just soak that in and just hear what you have to say. But this is truly just a beautiful thing coming together as staff. I don't count. I'm not staff, obviously, but it is a beautiful thing to see all of you here from all of your respective schools in your areas coming together, collabing on ideas, hearing where our district is at and where we want to go.
He's a wrestling coach. He's been here for a while, along with Tone. But now he has a new position in the district. And what struck me about what Mr. Lowry said is he said in the interview with Miss Elder and I, what do you do when you have to face a difficult student? Mr. Lowry said, I lead with love. What's more important than that for our students? Yeah, that hit me right here, brother. I want to talk about Mr. Black, who's the new assistant custodian at PERC, recently promoted. Mr. Black has a thirst for the knowledge in the department that he works for. So much so that while we were working and Mr. Callahan and I were kind of tutoring people, Mr. Black whipped out his phone and videotaped it, went home, studied it, and came back and put it into action. All right, Mr. Black, I see you. All right, let's talk about a new hire. I've adopted him as my nephew, Ernest. Can you stand up, Ernest? This young man, when I tell you, he was side by side with us the entire summer. By the time we were finishing the final work to open school, Ernest knew everything we had to do. All right. Let's talk about a new employee who was promoted from a cleaner to now a new position as our HVAC preventative maintenance specialist, Mr. Franklin Roy. Working it out, y'all. We working it out. We can talk about the energies of a recent hire secretary who wanted to do every single thing that the department required. Her nickname is Greedy. And I think that had to do with food before, but it has to do with knowledge now. Kalisha. All right. I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited for the future of this district when I see teachers coming in trying to make sure that their classrooms are ready to greet our students. So I threw my speech away. Those are the things I wanted to share with you. But there's one more thing before I give up this microphone. I'd like Miss Goodrum, if she would, bless us with the poem that I heard her do at a rally for Kamala Harris this summer. These are talents that we have in this district that are untouched. Miss Goodrum. You guys enjoy this. And I'm not going to come back to the microphone. So have a great year. I'm at Caledonia if you need me. And I'd like to finish with this in any speech from Henry Ford. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Ms. Goodrum.
Thank you, Mr. Callahan. Thank you, Dr. Pettigrew. The title of this poem is called A Promise to Our Ancestors, and it's about voting. Once upon a time, long before I was born, our ancestors' visions were shattered and torn. They had goals, desires, hopes, and dreams, but they were taken away from vicious people who were mean. They were once kings and queens who ruled on their throne, but when they transgressed from God, that's when all things went wrong. They were taken away to a far and distant land. To be stripped of their divinity was the enemy's master plan. From the river of the Nile to the valley of death, they stayed prayed up through each and every step. If they tried to read, if they tried to write, the decree was made that it will cost them their life. The enemy tried to break their spirit, you see, so they beat them, they burned them, and lynched them from a tree. Although it was horrific to see such a sight, they united together and decided to fight. And because life was hell for them and it was hard to cope, I honor our ancestors every time I go and vote. So if you ask me why I go and vote when I do, I made a promise to our ancestors. What about you? Now, God nor the Christ never told you not to vote, but since religion told you not to, some of you won't go. People fought, marched, and bled. People died so we can vote. And when you don't show up at the polls, you help destroy future's hope. But when it's time to collect from civil rights because of votes, I wonder if you stay home then. I bet you don't. So if you ask me why I go and vote when I do, I made a promise to our ancestors. What about you? Now, the day you cast that ballot, on the day you go and vote, guess what? We no longer have to guess how many bubbles of some soap. So I stand up and I speak out when I see injustice done. And to turn and look the other way, no, I'm not the one. Whenever it's time to go out and vote, I think about our ancestors who were forced here on a boat. So voting is a must, and voting I would do because of sacrifices that was made for me and you. So to those of you who do go vote, I salute you kings and queens because I too am a product of our ancestors' dreams. And when future generations look to see what you have done, will they say you proudly say you voted for them, or did you tuck your tail and run? So thank you, ancestors, for voting for me. And today, right now, I make this decree. As long as I breathe and as long as I live, will I go when it's time to vote? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I definitely will. So if you ask me why I go and vote when I do, I made a promise to our ancestors. What about you? I vote.
Good morning. I am Lillian Tober, President of the East Cleveland Education Association. I am just 1/4 of the team who works really hard to represent you. You also have your Vice President, Irene Spraggins. Keisha Sanders Stewart serves as your treasurer. And Laura McLaughlin serves as our association secretary. In addition, you have a hardworking team of building reps who serve in each of your buildings. So thank all of you for what you do. As we begin each new school year, a few days before convocation, I without fail wake up in the middle of the night and remember that I am tasked to deliver this speech. I immediately reach out to who's ever in charge and ask, do I really have to do this again? To which the response is always, yep, and you'll be okay. This usually helps to settle my nerves a bit, but this school year is a bit different. Over the past few days, I have pondered over what my message should be and how I could encourage you in this moment, because it's no secret that as a district, we are in the midst of change. This is evident by the 56, yes, 56 reassignment notices that I have received from May 30th to just the other day, including one for myself. These range from classroom locations to grade level changes and even building assignments. Nonetheless, they are changes, and one thing we can all agree upon is that change can be difficult. As I lay awake at 3 in the morning, scrolling through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, looking for some inspiration, I finally decided that my message needs to be simple and straightforward. So I have 3 quick points I want to share. 1, yes, there have been a lot of unexpected changes, ones that have torn at the heartstrings of individuals and leave them asking, why me? To all of you, I am going to simply say, pay attention. And I don't mean that sarcastically. There are so many things happening here in EC that are outside of our own little worlds, and we must stay engaged. We are losing students at a rapid pace. But the one thing we are not losing is each other. Look around. As it may seem, to put whatever negative feelings you have about your change aside as we welcome our scholars back into the building. Be cognizant of the energy we give off to families who remain dedicated to our district and continue to bring their kids to our classrooms. 2, for those of you who have not experienced a change, I ask you to be supportive. We all understand that change may be necessary, but also be reminded that it's challenging and people deserve some time to adapt. Lend a helping hand to one another. Welcome a new person to your building. Avoid making judgments because you heard something about somebody that's there. Let's work together to uplift one another. Finally, let's address the elephant in the room, and it's a personal one. But that's okay, because I'm willing to put myself on the line to drive this message home. I know many of you are thinking, yeah, right, Tolbert. It's easy for you to sit up and tell others to adjust, to change, because you got the position you wanted this school year. Yep, I've heard all the rumors from 2 years ago when I moved to SSPA, and now I have been selected to be an instructional coach for ELA in grades K through 5. Transparent about me. What many of you may not know is that this is the 4th time, yes, the 4th time I applied for a position like this in the district. And each time I applied before, I did not get the job. However, I continued to focus on my why. I went back to my classroom and taught like I never taught before, honing my skills as a teacher and thinking outside the box to help my students succeed. I patiently waited for the next opportunity, and look at me now, right back where I aspired to be 31 years ago when I walked into room 18 at Roselle Elementary School on my first day, following my dreams to give back to the community that gave so much to me. ready to make the positive impact that I desire to leave as my legacy here in EC. So yes, we are in the midst of change. And yes, change can be uncomfortable, but now is not the time to give up. Now is the time to work together to get the job done as we navigate through the changes here in our district. I want you to be reminded, the race is not given to the swift, but it is given to those who can endure to the end. I believe in you. I believe in us. We got this, EC. Have a great school year.
Thank you. Thank you both, Mr. Lockhart, for sitting with me all summer interviewing, and thank you, Lillian, for your message. I'm here to introduce our new teachers and our guest teachers. We have 14 new teachers and guest teachers all together. So my first introduction would be Corinne Bryant. Corinne Bryant is at preschool at Prospect Elementary. Sabrina Turner, she's a nurse. She's a school nurse at Prospect and Superior for the Performing Arts. Tracy Jackson, welcome back home. She's closing the achievement gap, so lead teacher at the Shaw High School. Crystal Jones, Prospect Elementary preschool teacher. Let me reintroduce Reginald Laurie, since Mr. Lockhart did part of my job, but he's the graduation success coach at Shaw High School. Alicia Warshaw, she's the new English language learner teacher. She's not with us today, but she will be starting, and she will be housed at, she'll be housed at the board office. Selwyn Barfield is our guest teacher. He is an intervention specialist at Mayfair Elementary. I saw him, so I know he's here. Sharon Humber, welcome back. She will be the Spanish teacher at Shaw High School. Voice Clark will be the music teacher at Caledonia Elementary. Voice, can you share your voice a little bit? Because her mother named her appropriately. I just want you all to hear. Yes, I was. Just want them to hear who the music teacher we hired. Okay, just for a second, so I can finish up.
All right, I'm gonna give y'all a little something. I knew she was gonna do this to me because somebody already called me out on it. Life forever find a sea. I was lost, now I am free, 'cause I believe in you and me.
The next person would be Robert Starks, the fifth. Look, he already a rock star. Thank you all. He will be located at Mayfair Elementary as the custodial aide. Thank you, Robert. Ernestine Roy, she will be a cleaner at Superior School for the Performing Arts. Harold Crew, he will be, he's not here today either, I don't think. He will be at Shaw High School as a cleaner. And finally, Terry Ross. He will be a custodial aide at the high school. Please give all our new teachers and guest teachers a hand. And now I'll bring back Dr. Pettigrew. Who I forget? Did I? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did forget one. I apologize, Mr. Singletary. Stephen Singletary, he's at Kirk Middle School. Sorry, Mr. Singletary. Blame it on my eyes, not my heart.
All right. We got singing and poems, and this staff is very, very talented. We got so many, yeah, get a round of applause. So many talents. While they're queuing me up, I'd like everybody to look at this big area that I left open in the middle. And if you look at it, it's shining. And it's shining in a way that it's never shined before. If you were instrumental in helping get this shine on this floor, can you please stand to be recognized? Yes, yes, yes. Now, this has nothing to do with what I'm gonna talk about, but I'm just impressed by my staff. 30 layers of wax had to come off of the floor. And then they had, and then they had to build it back up. It took days and days and days and hard work, and sometimes not thinking that it's something that we could do. Why do we gotta do so much? But at the end of it, after everybody's dedication, this floor has turned out better than any of us imagined. And that's kind of what I'm gonna talk about a little bit today. I'm using this floor as my mirror. It's a place where we can make some adjustments. We can do things better than maybe we've ever done before. But we're gonna get started. Vibe out with me just for a little bit. Go ahead. All right, hey, I'm glad you with me. Let's take a journey. I heard that trailing off. I heard that. All right, family. It's time to look in the mirror. And it got to start with me. I'm going to take you on a little journey where the summer I had was me looking in the mirror. Professionally, some personally. What are we doing? And is it working? So follow me just for a little bit while we talk about looking in the mirror. We'll talk about the causes. We'll talk about which mirrors to pick, and we'll talk about what has to change. Thank you, Lillian, for previewing some of the changes that are happening. Because when you look in the mirror, you got to make some adjustments, right? I brought my mirror. This is out of my house. My wife said, "Where you going with it?" But I took it because sometimes I need to be reminded, and I gave you a token, right? Sometimes you need to lead us at your desk, lead us at your workspace. Sometimes I need to check myself and look in the mirror and make sure that I'm doing those things that I need to do. Next slide, please. Where we've been. This is my 6th convocation in this district. This is 6. I'm like, wow, I've been here a considerable amount of time. Henry, and I'm gonna use that instead of Doc or Dr. Pettigrew, but Henry, what are you doing? And are you achieving the results that you set out? So we started in 2020 with convocation. It was a brand new day. Y'all remember that? y'all sat up on this stage and had balloons dropping, and there was a fog machine, and I want to say I saw Courtney, I saw Tony, and they was jumping around. It's a new day. Suddenly, subliminally, there was this idea that there was a new change, a regime change that was somehow better, and we're going to show better results. Then COVID happened that year. So then we had to go the next year in 21, we had to talk about the state of the schools. We had COVID, we had babies without internet, babies that couldn't get food. We were trying to food with all that Zoom and trying to go through all. So we had to talk about where we were and how can we help, because we were behind on a lot of areas. Then the next year, it was the road to revitalization. Let's add an R. We're gonna revitalize the district and we're gonna come up with a plan, and we got a plan approved by the state that said we can do a scorecard, and if we do scorecard for 3 years, we can get out of this academic distress. So we're gonna go down this road, and there was a plan and all of that. The next year, even though we were trying to go on this road, I got up here and I tried to make the case for revitalization. I said, well, it doesn't seem like we want it. We talk a good game. We do a whole lot of capping. But do my actions line up with what I'm actually trying to do? And I brought out, I took y'all all the way to the Civil War. And I started talking about the people that, the slaves that decided they didn't want to be slaves no more. And we went through all of that, gave you all of those conversations trying to say the door was open. We need to now do those things our children need. It is time for this district to succeed. And then we started working the scorecard, and we started exceeding results on the scorecard, but the report card, the state report card, stayed the same. So I came to you and I said, well, what happens? I used my James Bond thing, and I said, well, when the world is not enough, or when exceeding expectations is not enough, because you can have a scorecard that's doing some things, but there's still some other metrics that say we're not doing our job. I'm not doing my job. If you don't like the image in the mirror, your obligation is to change it. So you about to watch the metamorphosis. We about to change in real time in this presentation. That brings us to that last one. It's time to look in the mirror. It's a conclusion that I have. I don't think we're doing that. I think we getting up, walking out the house metaphorically, never looking in the mirror and just saying we look good. Based on what? Who told you that? Let's go, next slide. They laughing, I appreciate that. This was hard work for me to try to understand what's next. Art, what's next on this slide? I want to give a shout out to Art Hill. Yeah, give him a shout. I gave him the skeletons of this presentation, and at about 3:30, 4 in the morning, he and I were on Google in independent houses, but we were on Google Slides trying to get this ready for you. So I want to thank Art for that. He's been up all morning making sure that it was right. What you'll also see in this presentation is some cardinals. I learned something about a program called Mid-Journey. You can type and turn it and make it into a picture. So I just started playing. So you'll see the playing that I had throughout this presentation. It was just something that was engaging to me, so I started putting it in the presentation. Our first point is, why look in the mirror? Why did you look in the mirror this morning? Or to my son, why didn't you look in the mirror this morning? Right? The mirror is an important part of all of our lives, all of our days. Some of us look at more than one mirror. We got one here, one there, because we got to get it right. Right? We want to make sure that the image that we see in that mirror is a proper image for what we want to be. When I go out into the world, I want to be assured that the way I look is not strange or it's not deviant, and I can be accepted by the greater world. We look in the mirror to do so. We look in the mirror to measure and make sure, right? But we also look in the mirror because there's a cause or a concern. Something's going on. What is this in the back of my head? And you go run to the mirror. Ooh, I feel something over here. And you go run to the mirror, right? Is it just me? You've been sitting on the couch watching whatever, but you feel something, you got to go run and examine it. There's a cause and there's a concern. Come on, Art. So what are we talking about? The mirror also symbolizes self-awareness, honesty, and unfiltered realities of life. The mirror is going to shoot it to you straight. This ain't no filter. The mirror is going to give you exactly what you give back and show you what it looks like. But how many of us in certain areas or aspects, we don't want to look in that mirror? That truth might cut. That truth might talk about who I am as a person. Things that I feel are successes in the building blocks of who I am as a person. Some of those things may not be accurate. I have a revisionist view of history when I look back. Some of y'all that play football swear y'all were state champions every year. That never happened to Al Bundy. You didn't do that. But we get a little delusional, Monique. We get delusional. It happens. Oh, y'all ain't with me yet? Okay. You go home and you go get in the mirror and it's just you in the mirror, if you understand what I'm saying. And you go examine from head to toe what you look like to yourself. And you tell me if you don't see 1, 5, 100 things that need to change. I'm struggling sometimes with this area, and I've tried for 30 years to get it right. And I tried this and I tried that. And now the exercise bike is a clothes rack. You can get caught up. But the mirror will always bring me back to reality. The mirror will always say, it's not what Henry thinks, it's what the mirror say, right? Let's go, Art. Y'all keep up with me. July 25th, there was a communication that I received where it talked about, in the state of Ohio, the Senate Education Chair floats closures for struggling schools. I said, that's peculiar. Let me read further. And then it started talking about, and I got it highlighted there, it says, we've got school districts that need to reorganize and haven't, especially these urban districts where you're seeing poor academic performance. That's us. No, that ain't us. That's us. And they saying we need to turn these lights off because this don't work. We don't work. This is a mirror. This is a mirror. What do you do when the mirror is showing you something you don't like? It goes deeper. Then he said, this is Senator Brenner. By the way, I invited him and a few other people. Thank you, Juanita Brenner's here, but I invited a whole bunch of folks. If I'm gonna say something about you or reference you, come on. Because I don't think you got a right view of us. I think you talking about something that you don't know about. But the mirror makes it sound like it's true. When you look at them test scores, it look right. Go further. He acknowledged the creation of the ADCs. That was supposed to help y'all, us. Oh, you heard your boy president, right? We went into it, okay. But it says there, it says it didn't work well in the 3 districts, right? I highlighted East Cleveland. That's us. I've been listening to Kendrick and Drake all summer. This beef now. Well, I gotta respond. They think I'm short out here. I'm playing games. They saying we scared to do what we need to do to get these kids successful. I got a branch on my shoulder right now. He put a branch on my shoulder because now I gotta knock it off and we gotta go move furniture. So before I could respond to this in this vein, and that's why we live stream and I'm putting it on recorded tape because this is where we are. Can we go to the next slide? There was a response though to this letter and from, I believe it was Representative Miller. And this is an alternate view. Test scores are typically a function of demographics. Hence, by improving the environment and living conditions in the communities. East Cleveland Public Library, now they in our community. They saying the community can't improve these test scores. What? So y'all either you saying we need to be wiped off the map, and they've talked about East Cleveland being wiped off the map for a long time. Now they in the school saying get rid of this school system. Get rid of the way you provide for your family. Get rid of the way we provide for our children and their families. Because it's not working well. And it's because of the environment, and they blame it on living conditions. And he also says there at the bottom, he said, it can't be remedied by closing public school districts, right? That's good. Thank you for saying that. We shouldn't close our district. But he said they need what? Life support, not a death sentence. What you clapping for? That man just said there's two choices for East Cleveland. Put them on life support or put them on death row. What? What? Do you hear what I'm saying to you? They saying we can't do it. They saying it's not possible for the people in this room to do it. They've been trying to get me for 5 years to get rid of every one of you. That's what ADC was about. We were supposed to wipe the state clean. I said, no, I believe these are the people that can do it. We are who we waiting for. But is it true? Are we the ones that can get this done? Or are we sitting here being delusional and we need to get a reality check? Because we love to cap about what we're doing in this school district. We love to give you an anecdotal story about how you help some family, some kid. Oh, great, la-di-da. The wholesale group, all of the kids in this district, according to the mirrors that I'm showing you, they saying that don't mean nothing. Y'all ain't doing it. I'm not saying this. The mirror is saying this. The mirror is saying we got to wash our face. The mirror is saying we need to alter our appearance because the way we look is suspect. We crazy, if I can say it that way. That's how I've been looking all summer. I'm like, what is this? And anybody that's been talking to me this summer, I've been talking about the mirror, the mirror, the mirror. I'm in the mirror, the man in the mirror. We have to not improve. It's not about the conditions and living conditions. That ain't us. We got to improve the internal conditions. And based on measures that are verifiable, we need to prove that we can do this because there is a group of people motioning that we need to close this school district down. Do you hear me? This ain't for play no more. This ain't about, we did the trauma thing. We did the, let's make sure the staff is okay. Let's make sure the equipment is okay, all the technology, the furniture. We did all that. Give them the creature comforts. Make sure folks got pay raises. And because when I got here, y'all wasn't stepping or getting raises, and everybody in this room got more money than when I started. But the performance hasn't changed. So are we just getting over? Are we just in this we playing this game with this community? And we really don't want to do the things that they demand of us? Remember, I started with man in the mirror. I'm talking to me. And I don't play like this. So let's see what we're going to do, because the cause and the concern is that we don't look right. Let's go to the next slide. Does it go further? Here's another mirror. I heard it earlier. Our enrollment is dropping, and it's been dropping. East Cleveland has lost 58% of its residents in the last 30 years. Huh? So our students aren't performing at the rate they need to, and we're losing students at that same time. Maybe a correlation. Maybe the brand that we're trying to sell is not the brand that they want to buy. What are we going to do? We just going to act like everything okay? We're going to just continue the way we've always done it and ride the tides and take on the new thing that they want to do in some PD session and have listen. Are we still going to be there? Because the students are walking away. Some because people are leaving the community. Some because we driving them away because we're not capturing the hearts and minds of the young people. And unless you got evidence to prove me otherwise, this mirror say, we need to get busy. Next one. So then I started playing around. I was on social media too, Lillian. It started looking around. Because we act like this. What I think I look like, but what does the mirror say? Right? You're not ugly if you don't look in the mirror. Ooh, who you calling ugly? I'm ugly sometimes. All the time I heard, ooh-wee. I'm going to call it out. Right? You heard that? But we got to get clear. We have to match the image in the mirror. Right? Look at that clown behavior. You showing up as a clown sometimes. Because what you thought you were going to do, you're not getting that done. And we playing this game. We in the circus sometimes. Right? And you see the other one. The baby in the mirror is me. When I start complaining about things that have to happen so that we can try to make this better, and I start thinking, but what about me? But how does this affect me? Think about these low-performing students. Because it can't be about you all the time. It's been about the adults in this district for longer than I've been here. That's what I weighed in, is adult stuff all the time. And then they get mad enough and then they want to try to get lawyers. That's the history. That's what they do. Meanwhile, students are not getting what they need. We sitting up there talking about the mirror. It never lies. It tells you what you look like. But just like in that picture, she don't want to agree with it, right? Let's go to the next one, sir. Dr. Pettigrew, that's a lot. So what mirrors can we look at to know what we really look like? Because it ain't how we feel. We probably feel pretty good this morning. I saw us dancing, smiling, and we were feeling pretty good. But the work ahead of us is monstrous. Next slide. Ooh. Look, I'm in the mirror. I'm in the mirror. Yeah, go ahead, get it out the way. Go on, get it. That's Lil Henry. Junie is my mama called. I think that was 3rd grade. Report card 2 was from 3rd grade. And that's back when you wrote on the individual cards, but I brought it out. I highlighted some things. It said he's an excellent student, he's quiet, he's well behaved, could be a fine artist, but mischievous at times. Like y'all don't know that about me, right? And the other one down at the bottom, it says good worker, however, inattentive during lessons in class, is drawing and playing with little toys. I gave y'all all a box of little toys to play with at your table if you need to get some of that energy out. Do we know our students? That's gonna be a theme. This me. That's a looking, this who I used to, and you know what? I'm still that way. That's still me. Look in your mirror. Go back to your elementary time. Go back to when you were a student. Think about, this happened because I took my son to college yesterday, and I wanted to give him my Foot Locker that I had 30 years ago when I was in school. So I started going through it, and it had all of these memories in it. So I really went through memories lane. I'm just giving you the highlights because all of the report cards was in there. And my mom is asking me right now to give them back. But this is Henry. This is me. Let's go to the next one. This was my introduction to state testing. You can't really make that out, but that's the Ohio Proficiency Test for 9th grade. 1991. I was in the first class of students to take that test. All it was, if you can't see them, there are P's, there was either pass or fail or did not attempt. And there were no state ranking, there wasn't none of that stuff. It was focused on the students and not really trying to close school districts. All right? So that was my introduction. I'm trying to give you me. I'm trying to open up a little bit. This is what's in my mirror. And as I'm looking through some things, this is what's in me and how I got to respond. Let's keep going. Woo. I challenge anybody to put their transcripts up. I left school with a 2.7. 2.7. 2.7 GPA. That's not high. That's a C. That's me. He think he look good too. Been wearing a tie since I was born, right? Like, he think he's somebody, cool, debonair. Meanwhile, the ACT scores weren't really that great, right? And you can see I took a whole lot of classes, but I was exposed to a whole lot. And the classes were hard, right? But I still was the inattentive student during class playing with the toys, although the toys turned into other things, right? And now we have technology that's toys. Because we sit up in a meeting on a laptop and don't have to pay attention to what the PD is happening. Or is it just me? Right? Look in the mirror. This is who I am. And this is I'm trying to make an understanding. You need to also look at your high school career. Not the romantic one that you like to tell everybody, but the one that is the real one, because our students have real lives, real issues, real concerns. And I feel like we just be talking at them. We're not really getting deep to the heart of the problem. We really doing surface level treatment. But just like this floor, sometimes we got to remove a whole lot of layers to get to where we really need to build it back up. Let's go to the next one. I'm embarrassed by that picture. Cleveland hired me as an assistant principal back in '01. And I was and to those of you that don't think you got enough space, administrators that may be talking about office space and I need more space, I was in a closet with another person. It was 2 assistant principals in a book room. You know, the one with the door that half open so you can get, I'm up in there, no internet, there wasn't no phone in there. So it forced me to get out of my office and at 23 years old, I had 200 teachers under my charge, or 200 students and 21 teachers, right? That was my first taste of trying to work with teachers and trying to work with a building to see how do we help students, how do we respond to them. Next one. This 10 years later. The last district I was in, we made the news. We were in top 10 on them state testing, the state growth. We were number 8 in the state that year in 2011. I was director of curriculum. So Henry, wait a minute. You got some successes and you got a history of doing this work. I did it twice in my previous district, getting us out of ADC, and then in 11, getting us out of whatever, it was below continuous improvement, to keep us there for a while. And getting those things out. But my work experience, what's in my head is that this work is possible, right? So if the work is possible, then what's the problem? What's the barrier? Go to the next one. Let me talk about 2 very different academic mirrors, first of all. Give a little history. And you see I'm playing with these little toys, right? The Ohio report card. It's like the mirror in the interrogation room. It is a 2-way mirror. And usually people who are suspected of a crime are the ones sitting at that table, handcuffed to the table, right? The report card is for people outside of East Cleveland to look and judge whether or not we're doing it or not. That's an interrogation room. But if you get called down to the police, you got to go to the station and they put you in that room. Your account of the events, your innocence needs to be determined, and you need to show that you are a good person and you didn't do whatever the crime is. Our Ohio report card is saying that we are criminal in this low performance of students. Our scorecard is like the bathroom mirror. We looking better, right? In the bathroom mirror, you look better. But I know my light ain't that good in the bathroom mirror. If I go down the hall or down the steps and the lights are a little brighter and I'm looking in a different mirror, I might see something that I didn't see in the previous mirror. So I need to use both mirrors. I need to use both. I can't just say, well, we got a scorecard and we doing our thing and we can't hold on to that. because the report card doesn't match. You look good in that low light in your bathroom, but when you come outside, your shoes is 2 different colors. Right? Diana Witt, I didn't use her picture, but that happened to her. She walked around all day one day with a blue shoe and a black shoe. You know how that go. And said, nobody told me my shoes didn't match. All right? Those are things that we can adjust. Let's go to the next one. So let's go to the scorecard first. We've been exceeding expectations 2 years running. This year, I'm sure that we'll do the things we need to for the scorecard. We'll get the 3 years, this third year, which is the ADC year, that if we get the 11 of the 20, then they said they will release us from academic distress and we will be back to a regular status. So we have to keep this as our focus, but it's just one mirror, right? And it's not the predominant mirror. The more and more we're going down the road, another mirror is getting more and more important. Next slide. This one. Stand up if you've been here for the last 10 years. Stand up if you've been here for the last 10 years. Stand up if you've been here in the last 10 years, because this data's for you. This school district, according to the Ohio State test, has only the highest we've ever been in a decade is second to last. 10 years. Not just the ones Dr. Pettigrew got here, and we're trying to come out, it's all of them. That romantic stuff that I've heard the last, you can sit down, those 3 or 4 years, I hear about all these romantic stories. But ever since performance index has been established and put on the report card, since 12-13, you see where we are. Last. What are we doing? What are we doing? Last. I watched the Olympics recently. Nobody wants to be last. You can't get to the podium with last place. But yet here we are in this district acting like we're making strides, acting like things are getting better, acting like. But the decade says it's all the same. Same, different players, same results. Different curriculum, same results. Give them more PD, same results. Pay them some more money, same results. Well, let me give them a bonus this time and this time and this time. Same results. Can I talk about the mirror? Because we can feel good all we want to, but look how we look. So when you see Senator Brenner, he talking about getting rid of these closing schools, the ones that's not performing, this is why. This is why. For 10 years, we have not shown that we can figure out how to educate the East Cleveland student. All kind of configurations, all of it is the same. My years, the years before me, as I look in the mirror, they were all failures. According to this mirror, right? Now you can go run into the other room and look at a different mirror and make yourself feel good, but this mirror says, we need to change all this stuff now. I see I'm just getting some heads are shaking. It's okay, heads nodding is good. This is gonna be primary. I've asked the principals to talk to you more about this. Last, if you teach English, science, math, and social studies, how does this make you feel that everything that you've done, all of the things that you've tried, all of the stuff that you tried to pull together has not worked? It makes me feel lower than a dog. This is our profession. We said we teach. How? Who? When? Based on what? Y'all saw my baby picture. I'm not trying to be mean to you. This is to us. We need a reality check. Stop all this whining about stuff. Get it right. Talk to me about why the kids aren't being successful in your classroom. And don't redirect it back on their parents or what they do. Let's get off of that slide. This is our mirror too. Take a minute to take this one in. This graduation a couple months ago. Surely our graduates feel better. They don't feel like that, Dr. Pettigrew. Surely they feel like, no, they don't. They feel like inmates. Well, that's just harsh. That's it. They feel like inmates. They feel like this is a place they got to get out of. That's why they don't come here. And I'm not talking about high school. I'm talking about pre-K through 12. There is something that's in our system, and it has been here for a long time, where when the road says we need to do the things to get the kids successful, somehow we do this. The mirror tell me I need to stop eating this is Pepsi, Reese cups, I gotta stop, right? But then here I go to the store going to buy them. I said I want to improve this number, but what I do on a daily basis does not match what I said I want to do. In the mirror, we are delusional. And it starts with me. We deluding ourselves. This one hurts too. This our babies. But you know what else hurt me? We let her walk like that. And we let her show the whole community, because their backs was to the community, we let her advertise like that, even though adults knew that it was on her head. Because we say one thing and we let other things happen. Think about your own job. Think about the things that you have power over, and does the mirror match what we're expected to do? Ever since this floor was here, this floor has never looked like this. This is the way it's supposed to, but it required extra effort, extra work, new things, new tools. It required a whole process to get it where it needs to be, and so it is with the academics of our students. And we're gonna stop playing this game today. As I tell, I got my 2 boys in college, and I got 2 girls in pull-ups. Pray for me. And I got 1 in the middle, but pray for me. But I get to a point as daddy in the house, enough. I'm done. Y'all yelling too much in that room. And I've asked you to lower your voice. I've asked you to stop doing that. Now I have to impose something to get you to believe that you need to do what I've asked you to do. I don't want to be daddy of a district. But y'all asking somebody to do that based on the performance. Next slide. The mirror. Isn't he so cute? The mirror. The mirror is simply setting the expectation that you will look at yourself first in all situations in which a breakdown has occurred. Even when the breakdown didn't originate with you. Oh, that ain't my fault. That's them over there. Oh, I didn't get the email. Oh, well, you didn't respond, so I ain't. It's your fault. If a breakdown happens on your watch, whether it's yours or whether it's in the room next door, and you knew it was going to happen, you knew something wasn't going to go right. You knew that sub was in there and them kids going to eat that sub alive, and you just closed your door and said, oh, that ain't my problem. The mirror says, you let somebody know, you give some resources, you give a hand, you do something other than just watch it happen. And what we've been doing is watching them fail and justifying the failure so we can still feel good about ourselves and what we do every day. I'm trying to get real with you right now. Because in your head, you can convince yourself anything. You can say you're a good teacher. You can say you're a good employee. But does the mirror match what you said? Based on what? And I ain't talking about evaluation evidence. I'm talking about what the public see. And in the court of public opinion, this body of people is not getting it done. Next slide. This slide will be made available art time. Make sure everybody can see this. So a couple things, when a low performance happens or a breakdown happens, how effective was your request to the employee or the student in regards to the project? Did they understand what you was asking them to do? Or did you just kind of throw it at them and say, do it, and if you don't do it, here go the consequence? Did you make sure I knew what you were asking me for before I have to do it. Administrator, you say a whole lot of stuff to us as employees, but you didn't even wait to see if I knew how to do that. And then when I didn't do it correctly, now you want to come at me and talk tough. That was for y'all. I hope I gave somebody something. Did you provide enough context that would be helpful to the individual so that they can understand all the components necessary for producing what you want them to produce? So if the child failed and you moved on, we didn't do our job. Our job isn't to cover content and make sure we walk through all the things the textbook tell us we're supposed to do. We're supposed to teach. And I don't need a textbook to teach kids. I'm asking you who you are at your core, because some of us, I've been in education a long time. I know when I can retire. But my job is to make sure that the students are successful above all else. And the last one there is did you set them up for success? Or did you, well, I'd see the third one too, but the fourth one, did you set them up for success, or did you expect some level of mind reading from the employee or the student? That's usually the way it goes, is you blurt out something and they got to try to figure out what you meant and hopefully give it back to you and not get yelled at because it was wrong. And then here we are doing this low performance dance. Did you take the time to explain everything, or was it rushed, hand off because you needed to get it off your plate quickly? Oh, central office said, we got to do this now, so we got. They always talk about central office like the building make them do something. Next slide. Are y'all with me? I was told to give grace. I'm trying to be gracious, but this is real serious. And not only is it about our students and their performance, but there are people watching this low performance and using it as evidence to close our doors. What you gonna do? What are the changes that are needed? Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's look at some of the changes we've done over the summer since you've been away. That's Shaw's new flooring for the gymnasium. Yeah, clap, please. A lot of hard work. Because we're getting to the point where we have all the stuff. We got all the resources. We got all. Now it's time to do the work, and that happens with the students, right? So I think we did the same thing at Kirk. Kirk has a new gym floor as well. Art, do you have that pulled up? I know Art's been running around doing a little bit of everything. No more blue H on the floor, because it was just confusing. All right? If you get a chance, stop up and see the media center. It has been completed. It is beautiful. I think new teacher orientation was up there. Playground there's a new playground at Mayfair. We can go to the next slide. Art. There's a playground at Mayfair. Currently, there's a playground being built at Prospect. You see a big blue sunscreen for the babies so that when they play, they don't get sunburned. So we're giving all the things. Like what are we doing? We got to do something differently when it comes to that classroom and the way our buildings operate. And we have to do something that we have not done in the last decade. Now, you might want to talk to me about the 80s, the 70s. You can go, I don't know. But based on the data of the last decade, what we're talking about is something we've been unable to do. All right? So I want to talk about engagement for a little bit. The first step is engagement. And whether it's staff engagement or student engagement, and I've adapted what engagement, we've been talking about engagement for a while, but I've adapted it. The first thing that we need to establish is meaning and value before you ask me to do something. Oh, you want me to do an assignment? Oh, you want me to do something, administrator? Give me the meaning and the value of it first. What we do is tell them, do it because I said so, and you'll figure it out down the way. Well, my mama used to do that to me. Right? Well, I know better, so just do what I'm telling you to do, and you'll figure it out later. Anybody else grew up like that? And you just did it because, Ms. Lockhart, he pointing at you. You just did it because you were told to do it. That's not this generation. Lillian, you talked about social media. Do you realize how many kids in your class want to swipe left or right on you? As soon as you get up there, if they could, they would. So how do we engage the students? How do we get them to care about what you're asking them to do? They're low in reading, they're low in math, they're low in some things. They have some difficulties. They come from situations that are not ideal. The very first thing I need to establish is meaning and value. Why? I'm getting into some changes in this district, and I hope I gave you the why first. There's meaning and value to why we're making changes, and it's not to hurt your feelings. There's a war going on outside. I went and pulled my Lean on Me off the wall, right? Because that charge in that movie is the same charge we got. You got one school year to improve these scores. Because if you get another bad test score, another bad report card at the end of this year, you are giving fuel to the fire that we do not deserve to be here. Meaning and value. An engaged student finds meaning and value in the tasks that make up the work. I'm asking about how you design your work. So my mama, I hope she ain't watching, I sent her the link. So my mother, when I was growing up, she would cook a meal and put it on the stove or prepare a meal. I don't like that. Remember, I was the mischievous one. I don't like that. She said, well, that means you're not hungry. Hungry people will eat what they're served. We cannot treat our children like that. Now, my wife is a short order cook. It's 5 different meals sitting out there on the stove and the counter, and she's doing all this stuff because everybody wants something different. And to motivate these students, you're going to have to attend for each student individually and stop just putting that pot on the stove and expecting that's what they want to eat. They bored. I stayed up all night doing this lesson. You didn't ask them what they wanted to do. So you wasted your time, and I hate the fact that we waste so much time with that we try to do things that we've not first given meaning and value to the babies. Because you're going to want them to be, the second one is you want them to be attentive to what they're working on and focused on the task that you're trying to get done. You want them to be committed is the third one. That means this on a voluntary basis. There are some activities you do where the kids say, can we just keep working on this? Can we keep doing this? Right? They can persist. They're committed to this work. That's a good lesson. I'm not saying 100% of that's going to happen all the time, but my job is to get as many people as I can engaged in the room or the staff meeting or the PD session. It's not just about the kids. These administrators do a terrible job of engaging you. I said it. Next slide. So why would you do the work? Why would you be motivated? And I'm tired of it. They just need more PD. I talked to the central office, more PD. They don't need more PD. Everybody is educated in here. And we're going to talk about how we're going to release some of that PD. We're not going to do it the way we've done it before. It's going to be more directed by you because you need to figure this out for your own survival, for our own survival. We need to focus on these student motives. These are the design qualities. We've talked about them. They're on the unit template. Y'all check these boxes and stuff and say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But how many of us know which ones to use with what students? Because they're motivations for learning. If I'm not learning your content, if I like to play with the little toys and I'm a little mischievous at times, right? Then put a box of fidgets on my desk so I can pay attention to what you're doing. But no, you can't do that. Who you are doesn't matter in this building or this room. You need to conform to what I said you should be. And that is wrong of us. And they are responding with low performance, telling you that's not the way to do it, but year after year after year, this is the dance. I asked a group of administrators, and I'm going to each building, and my task is to learn all the kids, but I'm asking them, you need to learn every student, not just the data, because that's easy to pull up a spreadsheet. What motivates that student? Talk to me about Larry. I'm looking at Larry Brown. Talk to me about Larry. How do you get him to do the things that we need him to do? What does he like? What doesn't he like? What are his ambitions? Tell me more about him. And then we take that information and we put it in the lesson design. And if we put Larry in the lesson design, Larry will give you some attention. But when they don't see themselves in the lesson, they can't assign meaning and value. They can't be attentive, persistent, and committed like you need them to be so that they can perform. It's an equation. I feel like, and you could tell me if I'm wrong later, I feel like we skipped the meaning and value part. We get right into the content. What does your anticipatory set looks like? How do you ready the learners? How do you set them up for success? Not just deliver a lesson. And we're going to talk about how we have to do a little bit more monitoring of that to make sure that what the students need, they're actually getting. And if not, there needs to be support put in place. We don't know our students. Yes, I do. I know. We don't know our students. Because if we knew them, we wouldn't let them fail like this. We wouldn't let them be absent like this. We wouldn't let them just kind of do what they want to do. And I'm still hearing people say, I got my degree, you need to get yours. I'm still hearing that 6 years later. Students are still being told that by adults. We're going to focus on the design qualities in a real way. It's going to be embedded into some of these introductory days that we have to make sure the teacher that had that student last year gives me information about how to help that student be successful this year. Why are we starting over every single year trying to learn students when we need to learn them in terms of how they learn? Don't tell me about other stuff. How do they learn? Right? Next slide. I'm almost done, y'all. We also need to monitor levels of engagement. You'll hear about this in the buildings. I've asked the administrators to create engagement profiles on you. When they're doing a PD, how many of your staff are engaged or ritualistically compliant or rebellious in the meeting? And then what are you doing to change that? What are you doing to engage? You know how many kids I see in y'all classes with their head down and a hoodie over their head? And the teacher sitting at the desk. And that's cool as long as they over there not bothering me. They can sit there and fail for all I care. Maybe not your classroom. But the data shows you that I'm right. It happens. We're not giving them what they need. And we do that by learning who they are and building the lessons based on who they are, not some imaginary thing that we cooked up in our head because of our childhood or because of how we started out as an educator. I can't do that. You can't do that. We have to treat them as who they are. And we got to look at their engagement and we got to add, what are the design qualities? For me, it was novelty and choice. For me, it was product focus. I went to Schlechte over the summer and they added some, I've been going for a few years, and they added something to their sessions. It was a product focus. It was they as you were learning, you had to build out. This presentation began like that, but it allowed me to focus. I hate going to a meeting and I don't know why am I here, or what am I going to do? When am I going to use this? So for me, one of my design qualities is product focus. If I'm in a meeting and I can't connect it to what I'm doing, I'm checking out. But if you know that about me as your staff member, how are you designing lessons to keep me engaged? You see what I'm saying? I'm asking you to get to know the students in a different way and then use that as the fuel in your lessons instead of relying on all these resources to guide the lessons. Next slide. I'm almost done, God. I'm going long. So we're going to monitor for every student and motivate for every student. So monthly, I'll be talking to administrators and they will be talking to you. Every student, I need to know How are they performing on each individual scorecard metric that applies to your building? If the student is preparing for Ohio State tests, those are also on another column that we're going to look at. We're going to be looking at attendance. I want to park there on attendance. Roscoe and Lisa, where y'all at? Can y'all stand up? Lisa Longino and Terrence Roscoe. So, attendance. Roscoe is the administrator for attendance and athletics. You can call him, I affectionately call him AAA. You can call him that, the administrator of attendance and athletics. On the attendance front, he and Lisa, they're going to make sure that every student is accounted for. We're going to make sure that the attendance teams in the buildings are tracking all the students. When they struggle, when they're having issues, make sure that that plan gets done. We've already designated a number of students will get put on an attendance plan day 1. By day 60, if they don't make results, then we will be submitting that to Cuyahoga County for truancy. That's the process according to House Bill 410. But there's more. Because that's not enough. That's just House Bill 410. We just wasn't really doing it. We was playing games. I also reached out to Judge Dawson. And I think it's the first Thursday of every month, we will be having attendance court for the students and their families. My goal is we need to talk about your attendance, your students' attendance, and I'm telling everybody, if you have any government assistance, I'm telling that your kids don't come to school. Because if they don't come to school and mess up our life, then I want to mess up your life. I'm in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, some things are real clear. All right? So, and then the motivation for learning is a big one too. The principals have to tell me on a monthly basis the motivation for every student that we serve. I want to hear about it. I showed y'all me as an elementary student, talked to you about me as a high school student. We're going to talk about our babies, every single one, until we figure out how to solve the problems that they have. Not this blanket approach no more. Individualized to the student. And I got to learn all the names. It's about 1,100 names. I got to learn all the names because I need to ask them too. Do your teachers and do the staff know you? Where do you see yourself in your lesson? And when we do walkthroughs, we're going to ask them that. This lesson that you're getting, where are you in the lesson? What part of it do you know the teacher? They put that in there for you, all right? Back when I was teaching, I had kids when SpongeBob first came out. I liked to draw. So I used to draw on poster boards. It was the scientific elements. That was Dexter's laboratory. Then something else I want you to learn. Here's SpongeBob and Squidward. Because they like that stuff. So then they would look there at the wall, they'd look at it, and next thing you know, they know that information. Because it's put into something that they like. Or do we just force them to do it the way we learn? Right? I can't make all y'all act like me. And you can't make them act like you when it comes to learning because we're all different. So we have to learn these differences. So this is going to be in a real way. I know the director of curriculum, Tom, I know there in his office, we will be looking at every lesson plan of every teacher weekly. Not to hold you into compliance. I'm looking to see if you know the students in the lessons that you're designing. And if not, there will be conversations about that. We have to stop just doing the same old thing. So some of us need to put some stuff back in our car that we brought here today. Next slide. Because this is what I'm about to do. I'm about to burn the ships. Anybody ever heard that phrase, burn the ships? There was a conquistador, I believe his name was Hermano Cortez, and he was leaving Cuba, wanted to conquer a part of Mexico that had never been conquered in probably 600 years. So he and his crew, they got on shore, they docked the boats, they all crowding around the leader, and they say, well, what are we gonna do next? We're gonna take them, is it ready to go fight? He said, no, we're gonna burn the ships. Burn the ships? How we gonna get home? We gonna get home in their ships. Burning the ships, there are moments in life where we need to burn the ships of our past. Some of us are a couple decades ago mentally when it comes to academics. Some of us are still trying to get kids to do things that are not of this time. Some of us like certain lessons and certain lesson delivery methods that don't work. You need to burn those ships. Your past successes, like I showed y'all, but I did this in another district, burn that ship. Who cares? You ain't nobody. What ships do you need to burn? What are you holding on to? What beefs that you have with staff members that you need to let that mess go? Why can't we get along and wonder why the kids can't get along? And that's top to bottom. You need to burn these ships. I'm asking you to think about, write down on your phone or on a piece of paper, what are the ships that I need to burn so that my students can be successful? My past trauma, I got to burn that ship. What some administrator said to me in what year, I got to burn that ship. Well, I heard you talking to so-and-so and it sounded like you got to burn that ship. Anything that is not tied to learning these students and designing high quality lessons, you need to burn that ship. Teachers pay teachers, burn that ship. Y'all wasting money. You don't need them to tell you how to teach your kids. That's like somebody coming in your house trying to tell you how to raise your kids. That's what y'all doing. Call me now. That's what y'all doing. We do so by making a defining decision that will eliminate the possibility of sailing back. I don't know, when I grew up, it was the world before me, the cross behind me. But some of y'all would get that one. But when do you burn that old stuff? And you get rid of it to the point, some of them clothes in my closet, I got to throw away. I ain't never going to wear that stuff. I will never be this size again. Why is that still in my closet? Because you want this comfort in your head that one day, what are y'all talking about? One day this lesson gonna knock them out. No, it's not. No, it's not. Unless we asking them we gotta burn the ships of our own ego. We've been bad for 10 years. So burn that ego of telling me, but this year no, you wasn't. No, you wasn't. You weren't. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Burn the ships. Burn the ships so that we can go do this that we've never done and we can do it effectively. But when we looking back or when we thinking about something else, we cannot do this thing that we've been tasked to do, what we're paid to do. Turn to the next one. So more about burning ships. We have 5. Once we recalculate scorecard, we're back down to 5 of 20. At the beginning of the year, usually we start with 4 of 20. So we're kind of starting a little better than we normally do, but we still need to get to 11. Specifically, the K2 is really doing good, the early literacy, but we need that numeracy. And then 3 through 5, all of your metrics are gone. So you need to rebuild that. Because the numbers go up, so you lose credit for a previous percentage. So what do you need to do to get it to that status, to that rate? And in high school and middle school, all of your academic stuff is gone. With the exception of high school is still doing good at Algebra 2. And the middle school has 100% of the kids in co-curriculars, so you can get that one by design. But academically, the scorecard says you got work to do. Next one. Got work to do. Last. Say that with me. Last. And this ain't the first gonna be last gonna be first. This last. This dead last. This why are you even here last? Last store in the shopping center last. Right? We gotta double our performance. Double. Double the number of students that are proficient, advanced, or what? Double. Dr. Wright said it can be done. It can be done. This floor didn't look like this before they got to work, right? Like, come on, let the classified staff are showing us the way. But we got to get that elbow grease down. We got to get it right. We need double, because here's the thing. We can get out of ADC in June of 2025. But next school year, the creation of academic distresses comes back. So we are, in a real way, our mirror says, based on what we do, we are last. We can get out of academic distress in 25, but we'll be right back in 28. So we'll just get a hall pass. We'll get a 3-year stay before we got to go back to jail. So do we want to be on parole for 3 years? Only to go back to jail, because that's where we're set up to go. That's in your mirror. Every day when you're looking at your lessons, when you see the data results, when you're looking at your children, understand we are only, unless we change now. I don't want to sound like a physician. Sometimes our physicians talk to us like that. If you don't make these changes now, we will all be gone by 2028. Because the next iteration is get rid of board and get rid of all the people that Dr. Pettigrew said could do it. Next slide. On September 24th, I have invited the Mid-Size Urban Collective to come to this district and do walkthroughs in every classroom. That consists of 15 school districts throughout Ohio that look like us, sending representatives, teachers, administrators, and instructional rounds to come in and tell me, what mirror do they see? Do they see effective instruction? Do they see high quality instruction? Or do they see people that are walking around delusional? I've asked them to come in. I've also asked that their results be published to the state. Hey, Dr. Pettigrew, what are you doing? Why you? Because you know what? If we can't do it, we might as well go and tell them now. This is your charge. It's coming on that day. Every classroom, and we're going to get a report by November, and we're going to execute said report by January. Got to burn these ships. Tired of looking like this in the mirror. There's another lens. I need somebody else to come in, 15 school districts worth to come in. And I'm asking them, what do they see? And we're going to follow whatever the recommendations are, because what we've been doing wasn't working. Next slide. I've also asked MGT, and we'll be talking about this probably at our board meeting in September. I need more support. So I'm looking to push in some outside people to come in to live in all of these buildings, to assist and support, not to control, not to monitor. But we got to figure out, why are we last? So right now, they'll be looking at the high school will be the first one, because we got so many Ohio report card metrics at this building. But then, and this is not cheap either. It's very costly to do this. So we don't do this haphazardly. But the state of this staff, and compared to student performance, I need some additional resources. All right, let's turn to the next one. And I'm gonna skip past this. There's a new strategic plan. It will be here by the end of the year. We'll get off the revitalization plan. The next iteration of the plan will be heavy in state testing, metrics, and college and career readiness. Let's go to the next one. And Art, this is about 6 in the morning where we couldn't keep going, but I wanted this is in your state report card. Every year it's called financial data, Ms. Witt, and it talks about classroom spending versus student performance. When I first got here, East Cleveland City Schools was spending about $9-10 grand a student on classroom. Classroom spending is the things you buy, the textbooks, the furniture, the electronics, the teacher salaries, the people that touch students instructionally. It's all of that numbers put together. If you look at our last year's report card, you'll see we have now the highest classroom spending. I'm spending $22,000 a student. in y'all classrooms. All that stuff I bought for y'all, all the stuff y'all picked out, all I get, spending in the classroom was a problem. It is not anymore. You are leading the state with how much money is going into your classroom and your pocket. This is on your report card. However, you have the lowest in student performance. That don't match. You see, we the red dot, and we in that quadrant that you never want to be in. We don't want to be down there, way over there by ourselves like we Pluto. You know what happened to Pluto? It ain't a planet no more. That's what happened. This is a problem. Now, some of it is ESSER money, Diana. Some of it is because we spent money improving our facilities, right? But from the state's perspective, why isn't it working? Let's close it. Next slide. New human resources approaches. Number one, we'll have increased walkthroughs, but not just for the walkthrough's sake. They got to give you timely feedback. It has to be like really quick that you get that information and course correct if something is identified. There will be, and we've already started, an increase in fact findings. What I found in this district, we don't do enough of them. Y'all do some stuff. And the administrators do not, because they act like they busy with the whirlwind. They don't call y'all on the carpet enough in a formalized HR process. So we're gonna see that. Don't get mad, don't get all upset. Fact finding is not a bad thing. It's just finding the facts. Unless your facts are dirty, then it may be a problem. But we need to understand why students aren't performing, and some of that may be fact findings. We're gonna evaluate limited contract employees versus student performance. If you're not tenured, you're on a limited contract, that's a 1-year contract. And if the students aren't learning in your room, why are you here? That's not being mean, but like, we spending too much money on this. And we're shrinking. So we can't keep carrying all these people and expect that it's gonna get better. There will be non-renewal recommendations to my desk in spring of 2025. I have challenged all the administrators as we study ourselves, as we look in the mirror, those who refuse to try to get it better, those who are the dead weight just dragging this district down, if they can be non-renewed, they need to be non-renewed. There will be a RIF in spring of 25. I don't know how many is determined on enrollment, but why am I paying all these people and we the last in the state? To be last, I could teach 1,100 kids and get last. I could make a rock teach the kids and get F, right? I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm like, that's what these people are saying about us. They're challenging your very integrity as a professional, right? A dear friend of mine said, I believe in Henry Pettigrew, but I ain't seen him yet, right? I said, oh, you ain't seen him yet? I'm gonna bleed him, bet. But some of y'all got that too. Reassignments. I heard Lillian talk about reassignments, and it's already started. Reassignments may occur at any time now this school year. I'm not in violation of no contracts, but if you're not getting it done, you may get pulled out of that experience. The children and their experience is more important than you being in that room you've been in all them years. I gotta get people in front of the students that can do the work. And it's you. I've been saying it's you. I've been protecting you from the outside. I've not gotten rid of you. But you have to show that it is you. And the last one says, although there's a date of July 10th, if anyone has a problem with what I'm saying and the direction we're going, I'm taking resignations all year. I'd rather you do that than we terminate you. We in last place. We in last place. So everything I'm saying is appropriate. We started off where they said they refused to reorganize. They refused to do the things necessary to get the students successful. Not no more. Enough. it's going to be a hard year. You're going to be required to do things that you've never done before to get students successful. It's the only way we can do this. But we can do this. I can do this. So look in your mirror and get yourself together. Stop believing the hype. We get the band playing and we just jumping. Yeah. These kids failing. And that band's so small, you got third graders in it. That's a district band. It's time to look in the mirror. Can everybody grab their mirror and raise it up? It's time to look in the mirror. Now, can you look at yourself in the mirror, please? Look at yourself in the mirror. Don't look away, look at yourself in the mirror, it's you. Look at yourself in the mirror, it's you. The person that you're looking at, they can do this work. The person that you're looking at is built for this work. But just like anything else in life, sometimes the mirror needs to bring us back to reality and show us what we thought we were doing. We were far from the result we were looking for. Learn these babies. I promise you, if we take the time to learn the babies and then use that as the fuel to design the lessons, we know what they need to learn, they know how they learn. So if we can match that up and have some type of relationship with the students, they'll do anything we need them to do. All right. Those are my comments this morning. We're going to open up the floor. I think we're going to do a line dancing set when I'm done, because we need to blow off. That was a lot of information that I gave. It was a heavy conversation, but necessary conversation. It's time to look in the mirror. It just is. It just is. I appreciate it. Go ahead. Courtney.
So thank you, Dr. Pettigrew. Let's give Dr. Pettigrew another round of applause. We're going to have just a final remark from Miles Jackson again, and then we're going to do some line dancing. The food truck is outside. You know, we have our very own food truck here in East Cleveland City Schools. So the food truck is outside. We want you all to help yourselves to some food, and then you will report back to your buildings by 12:30. So when the line dancing starts, get up, have some fun, go outside, get you something to eat, and then report back to your building at 12:30. We'll hear from Miles one last time. And
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think they were serious about the line dancing. I thought that was a joke. Look, Dr. Pettigrew said a lot, and if you don't take away a lot, just take away this one thing. We have an opportunity to touch so many lives. You guys do, and believe it or not, it's evident. The parents see it. We see it as kids, but one thing was not cool is disengagement. I'm big on community. My family's big on community. Sunday night, we all together. It's got to be that same way for y'all. I hate to see one teacher talking about another teacher. That's not cool. That's got to stop. I hate to see one teacher because they've been here long enough. They get more than the little guy. They don't get more recognition. Just because you're a teacher don't mean you can't do other things. You're not just limited to the classroom. And if you think I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm a youth pastor. I do this for a living. So I see this. I see this happening. I deal with cranky people. I deal with the questions, but I give them the answers because that's what needs to happen. Look in the mirror. It's going to be a good school year. I can't say I'm proud of all y'all because I don't know all of you. But I will say this, I'm confident that all of you, since you all are in this room, you obviously know what you're doing. Whether you've been here for 15 years or whether this is day one, you all know what you're doing. Yes, moves are hard. The biggest transition I've ever had to go through in my life is a change of offices. And that's a little change compared to you might not be in the same classroom this year. You might not be next door to your buddy. That gives you an opportunity to meet new people. Stop bashing each other. Ask for help. Things don't get done if you stay quiet. My mom will be 80 in November. And one thing she always said to me is a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So yes, enjoy everything that we're doing today, but just don't go back to the same way. The change doesn't happen when we just sit back and complain and whine. Dr. Pettigrew don't do this. He don't listen to this email. They don't do this. They don't do that. You need to be confident in the school district. You've heard a lot of stuff about this. You're going to hear a lot of crap about it, specifically from my generation. This is a step out of last place. This is a step out of last place, all right? Enjoy the line dancing. I'm not participating. I don't get, nope. I'm going home. Me and my nephew are tired. But look, enjoy the school year. Ask each other for help. Be there for one another. Lean on your friends, whether they're in the building, whether they're across the street. Everyone's a phone call away. Everyone has a phone. Don't make yourself unreachable, because then you're going to find yourself in the same spot. It's either you ship up or you shape out. You got it? All right.
You all, let's give it up for Miles again. Isn't he amazing? We're going to have final remarks from our board member, Mr. Vernon Robinson, and then we'll do our line dancing and eat our food before we turn into the buildings. Thank you.
Good morning, Shaw High School. I was one of these kids back in 1965. I have a passion for this district. I never left. But what I'm coming to you today, not talk about board, because the board is 100% behind you. Is the marching band still in here? I saw some of the kids. Okay. But anyway, I know Mr. Ellis always gets tired of me saying this. I looked in the mirror and I was the baddest drum major Shaw ever had. When I say band, they hollered, yeah, man. When I said attention, they said Shaw got sold. So I'm a holler band, and I want you to repeat. Band! Okay, come on, district. Come on, district. Band! Attention! So my charge to you, those babies that were out here, because when I was in the 3rd grade, I wanted to march. Dr. Fulton allowed us to march behind. These babies are on the front line. You're talking about a 3rd grader taking the charge of a high school student and doing the thing. These babies have been invited to Hawaii. My charge to you, my East Cleveland family, faculty, staff, whatever part you play here, is to make sure they go to Hawaii. That's each and every last one of you. Here they come. Come on in here. Now, this is the mirror image I'm talking about. Look at the little ones. We could not do this until we were 14 years old in the 9th grade. We went from Prospect, Caledonia, Chambers, whatever the elementary school. Your charge was to get in Kirk Junior High Band. It was the concert band. And only way you can get in the Shaw Cardinal Marching Band, you had to audition for the part. Shaw Marching Band had 221 marching, 21 highlighters, 19 flags, 3 drum majors, 3 majorettes, and I led it all. So today, you all are the faculty staff that's gonna lead it all. You're gonna lead to make sure these babies right here get the experience of a lifetime, sending them to Hawaii. I need more than that. I need each and every one of you.
Let's be more specific. It's $250 to take them to Hawaii. $250,000. We're a small district, small school, small band. That's a Herculean task. We out there doing all kind of things trying to raise that money. They've only raised about $30,000 to date last time we looked at all the receipts. There's a lot of money left, but then there's a lot of people in this room. I need contribution from you to send these kids to Hawaii. And listen, we could do it like Afterpay, where it come out of a check, 26 checks, give me $38.40. You can give me $1,000 if you can do it like that. Administrators, the board just approved a bonus for y'all that y'all got the money to give the money back. Both unions got bonuses at the end of the year. You got the money to give it back. But don't talk to me about anything other than these kids deserve to go. And why aren't the employees sending them? Why they got to go out here and hustle for the money when we sitting here with pockets full of money? Because $38 is skip a DoorDash, skip a Uber. $38 is don't go to Target so much. I don't want you just to clap about it. I need you to donate to these babies. They deserve to go. And will you be part of the envoy to send them? Or will we still be looking in the mirror talking about that's not my responsibility? There's a QR code. You can log in right there and pay. If you want to talk to Diana about stretching a pay or carrying it out over the school year, we could do that too. We accommodate around here. One thing we don't do is disappoint the babies. And if you choose not to contribute something, you are telling the babies that they don't matter. It's time to look in the mirror.